there's nothing to know, but only to remember. It's like
Yeah.
that the one thing that every single human does is we forget. And
Mhm.
I think that's just where we're at in the world is that everyone is in a place of trying to remember, but
Mm.
having so many blockages and so many mental beliefs and concepts and ways of living that it withholds them from getting back to that remembrance.
Yeah. I would say, that's everything. Remembering is everything. It's everything. Um, and remembering is, what we do 75,000 times in one day,
Yeah.
It's just it's humbling to recognize, um, the challenge of remembering something that's just right here at all times,
Mhm.
and yet we forget all day long. Yeah, it's fascinating. But yeah, remembrance is everything. It's
I'm
everything.
curious, what does it mean to you to embody or live as soul? Because I feel like that is the representation of remembering is living and such.
Yeah, I have been slowly being guided back to that, simplistic yet very complex,
Oh yeah.
way of being on the planet. It just seems to be, and I'm writing another book all
Yes.
about, like, the God particle and what that I'm like, "What the freak is this?" Um, but so to me, it's like, you know, all the other things are really fun, learning about all the things that are happening in the world, and, that's all just like, whoa, what is this that we're in? What do you mean there's these things happening? And that's all kind of like the pretty paintings on the wall and stuff. Maybe not pretty, but what actually matters and what we're actually doing here on the planet is that we are simply remembering how to be
Mhm.
who we have always been, which is soul or an aspect of God, however you want to frame it, whatever label you want to use, inside a physical vessel. And on one level, it's like, oh, that's easy because and the mind thinks, well, yeah, of course, I'm soul, right? It's like the mind just understands that, like you were saying earlier, it understands it, but it doesn't know how to be. It doesn't. We aren't living that yet. It's a whole other level, right?
Yeah.
So there's this slow walking back into the body, like you said, all year, right? So that we can re-familiarize ourselves with not just emotion and physical sensation and trauma and all of that, but to realign and reconnect with this essence that came in to the human experience in the first place, this magnificent soul that's an aspect of spirit, which is an aspect of God, that consciously chose all of this, has this divine intelligence that's inside this incredible, magnificent physical vessel that knows how to hold it, right? Like it's holding this consciousness. And then we have to learn how to connect to it, like as a persona, with a mind that has all of these labels, and in a world that still holds duality and polarity.
Yeah.
So there is a good, bad, right, wrong, yes, no, feels. You can't debate that. You can't argue that. You can't deny that. And you're standing in an evolutionary process. So it's chaotic all the same time. So I'm learning how to remember that there is this essence of soul that I am that is not Lorie, and humbling myself to the how to while I still stay human and I do human. Every day, right? And so it's wild because
Yeah.
it's a gift to be James.
Mhm.
Like your soul chose James.
Mhm.
It chose all of the chapters that James has written has been chosen by soul, and soul is writing the rest of James chapters in his book. Um, but James really thinks James is James a lot of the time, right? Just because James is in James's world.
Yep.
So the practice right now for humanity is juggling all these different aspects of awakening and awareness while you have, I like to see it as two lenses.
Mm,
That's personally how I have been exploring this is um that's why awareness is so powerful, because when you have awareness, you can sort of separate from being the experience you're having, right? And so you can kind of watch James, or I can watch Lorie. It's a practice though, but it's absolutely the most necessary trait in the beginning, because then you can start to say, okay, Lori's experiencing heartbreak, or Lori's experiencing anxiety. Um, and then you have an opportunity in that moment to say, who's watching Lorie? Soul. Like, right. For me, it's soul. Okay, soul. Okay, soul. And then, okay, soul's what? So what is soul feeling? What is soul experiencing? So there's this like almost like a bipolar playing out of Lorie, who thinks that she's anxious right now, and Soul, who's watching Lorie saying, wow, what an incredible job you're doing navigating this. You know, wow, you are really courageously feeling this right now. Wow, do you remember that this all passes? Wow, do you remember this isn't you? Um, and so I start tapping into what soul would feel like if soul was in the human experience with me. And the more I do that, the more soul arises throughout my day with Lorie, who's the one that's always kind of been playing this role. And so it's been very fascinating to watch this beautiful dance that's been happening. But listen, it's not easy. I mean, the moment you get pummeled by a real intense experience, forget about it. I am like, in it. I am identified. I am suffering. I am like arguing for like the pain of it, and that's why the human experience is so humbling, because you could be practicing and just like, yeah, I've got this. Like, I'm good. And then something happens and you're like, oh my freaking God, I just got taken by that experience or that emotion, or, and so it's about recognizing that we're all in practice. We're all in remembrance. Every moment, every day, every experience to me is an opportunity, as much as I like it or don't like it. It's all gifting me with the ability to kind of master how to do this. I never see anything that happens to me as it shouldn't have, or it was
mm,
bad, or why. No way, man. No, no way. I'm always like, oh my, what did I learn in terms of mastering this human experience as soul? And that's been a real powerful shift in my journey right now.